Everybody.
Likewise.
So we got, Dusty here. We have Amy Sotelo as well.
Hi.
And we got Leslie Fernandez, and everybody is also has a Camarillo connection to an extent. And Jody, I didn't ask you, do you live in Camarillo?
I live in Camarillo and Mission Oaks.
Awesome, that's right. And you said you're teaching or doing counseling at Rancho, and
Rancho Campana.
Campana. Okay,
Yeah.
I always mess that one up. So, and you've been there since that's opened up, correct?
Yep, 6 years.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, welcome to our real estate training. So we're just going to do, we typically try to focus on different skill sets when we do our Tuesday meetings. Last few ones we've done have been focused around the listing presentation. We also, we'll just talk about just different challenges and things that we're going through right now, as well as market updates to make sure that we know what's working to get offers accepted, what challenges are we seeing, just common things so that when we do speak to a client or a prospect, we're in the know with what's happening. So we do this every Tuesday at 10 a.m. And then we do our Fridays, as I mentioned, Think and Grow Rich, kind of more of a book study. We're all reading together, and then we go over some questions together and just share personal experiences of, how that's impacted us. Sound good?
Great, yeah.
Awesome. Yvette said she didn't get the link, so let me, I must have missed her on that. I'll send it to her real quick. If you guys need to get water or anything, feel free to do what you got to do.
This chapter this week was pretty short and sweet on the.
Oh, wasn't it Money Man?
On the, yeah, it was good though. So I'm already on the next chapter for Think and Grow Rich.
Sweet. So you just did the mastermind one, the mastermind group one?
Yeah, it was only a few pages, and then where's my book at? But yeah, I was able to breeze through that one it was a good chapter.
That's awesome. Well, I guess before we get into anything, Yvette's about to hop on right now too. I guess before we jump into it, do you mind, Jody, do you mind just sharing us just a little bit? I know you shared with me just so that you're a counselor at Rancho Campana. Is that how you say it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You do that, and then you have an 8-year-old son. Do you mind just telling us a little bit more about yourself?
Sure. So I've been a counselor this is my 19th year. I was at Pacifica High School in Oxnard for 13 years, and this is my 6th year at Rancho Campana.
Nice.
So I guess I'm a veteran counselor.
Right.
And my husband is a veteran. He was in the Navy for 4 years, Marine Corps for 16.
Awesome.
Now he's a teacher at Wainimi. And we have an 8-year-old son who is doing distance learning for the rest of this school year. He's in the 2nd grade, right here, walking distance from our house. I'm pretty new to real estate. I've only been doing it a few years. I was telling Brandon that I started right when I got my license. I started at Rancho Campana, and opening up a new school is pretty gnarly to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
So all my time was spent there. So now we have another full-time counselor, and I'm looking forward to building my business in the real estate world and making a name for myself. And that's where I'm at.
That's awesome. Well, welcome to, and to our real estate meeting, as well as just these are the agents that I know Amy, it's been pretty recent, Amy and Dusty, both in terms of joining us. Do you two mind just sharing, I guess, the difference, because she's at C21 right now, and no, we're not trying to recruit from C21. She was introduced through a mutual friend. So just so you all know, for full disclosure. But just, I guess, Amy, what's been the difference from, you've been in the business about 4 or 5 years, from what you saw there to what you see now? Do you mind just sharing just a few thoughts on that?
Sure. So right now I feel like I have a lot of support, and I love how we're like a small family. So that's really helpful. And just, I don't know if you're going to be reading that book, but the Think and Grow Rich book, but it's all about like mindset and stuff. And everybody here is just, helps you stay with that mindset of reaching your goal. So, I mean, we're just like a nice little family, and I love it.
That's awesome. That's what I reached out to Brandon about, is he was like, why are you looking to change? I said, I'm looking for more of a family atmosphere and something smaller and more quaint and more intimate.
Right.
Yeah, and I promise you, I didn't pay anybody to say anything. I
was like,
definitely-
wait a second. She said exactly what I said.
Well, that's, yeah, no, Amy's been very honest, and just, it's awesome because she's come with an open mind, and it's not easy to be open to change, as well as, I mean, and, it was a tough decision, right, Amy? And making the decision early on, and,
Well, yeah, because it's scary to make a change,
Right.
and then am I making the right change? But I wasn't happy with C21 for a while. And I'm like, I know I need to change, but where am I going to go? And,
Yes.
so
Yes.
real
exactly.
happy and thankful that I was able to talk to Brandon and, and join the family.
Well, thank you. Well, we're glad we have you as a part of the family, and her son's in the Navy as well, which is awesome. So he's
Oh, that's
serving
awesome.
currently. And then Dusty, I always like to say, you've been around the block, right? You've been around the block. You've seen a few companies out there. What would you say is, just, I guess, the difference, and then just any experiences. And actually, Jody didn't even know our company name was Veteran Home Services, until about halfway through our conversation. So that was pretty cool. She was introduced, though, by Laura Lee Anthony, which Laura Lee, and that was one of our first connections to Troop. Just, I guess, what are your thoughts and your feelings, man?
Yeah, so Jody, I've been in the business since 2005, and it's great to hear you say that that's what you're seeking with, the more team/family environment, because that's definitely what brought me to Veteran Home Services just recently. One of my biggest regrets, if I could, go jump in a time machine and go back, I would have started at a company like Troop, because back then they had, I think it was Tim Gavin, right, Brandon?
Yep.
Yeah, he had a really good training program, and they were really structured for training and new agents. And so my time during Troop, I was a mentor at Troop, and I had about 5 to 6 agents under me while practicing my own business. And I always kick myself because it was hard, because I was always seeking the team environment like what we have here. But sadly, wherever I was going, I wasn't getting that proper training. So for me, and I've worked all over, boutiques, and I think the only place I haven't worked at is like Remax, because I refuse to go there. But I have a lot of great friends there. It's just it was just never a perfect fit for me. But yeah, it's for I know agents that have that tunnel vision, and they can just, they don't want training. They can get it done themselves, and kudos to those people with that mindset and that ability to do that. For me, it was different, because I was always seeking to better myself, to have that knowledge of contracts, and for me, I always believed in, this can be a Shark Tank, but when you do have a meet and have a nice group of friends within the business, you learn so much from them, because every transaction is different. Even all the experience I have, there's so much I have not experienced, especially in today's market. So I just left an office where it was really hard, because one, it was like my 12th move in my career. But the broker owner is a dear friend of mine still, but I had to listen to my gut, and my gut was telling me I needed to kind of go back to the nuts and bolts of real estate, and really fine tune my business, especially 2019, going in 18 and 19, I stepped away just to take a break and regroup. And so coming back, I just kind of felt like I needed to just fine tune my mindset and my business. And I I've worked with Brandon in the past, and our chemistry when we worked together was just, I've actually never worked in with a real estate colleague and had that connection, had that chemistry where every time I went into the office, I was bettering myself on a daily basis. And that's pretty rare to find, and not knocking into agents, because there's amazing agents out there that you will learn from. It's the fact that Brandon takes the time, and God bless him, because the dude is so busy with his kids and his business and his, everything he does for Veteran Home Services. And he just always takes the time to just to talk and problem solve. And so for me, it's just been an exciting move. I think it's been a month and a half now.
Mhm.
And I just feel I'm at home. And then plus too, I've known his parents for years, and his family, and their passion for real estate. And Jim and Terry, there's a reason why Brandon's very like a counselor almost, is because his parents are that way. If I always recommend, if you can't get a hold of Brandon, call Jim. Jim will he loves taking the time to sit down and really just help problem solve whatever the issue is, or even just want to talk to the guy and pick his brain about real estate. So sorry, I was blabbing there, but
No,
that's my experience.
I guess I got to
That's
give you
awesome.
$10. I only bribed you with 5, so I gotta double that up since you gave so much. But no, thank you for sharing all that, Dusty. And Yvette, it looks like Leslie's muted right now. Yvette, do you mind just sharing, I guess, what your experience has been? And you have different roles as well within the company and within the team and with the other agents. What's we all kind of come from the same place. We don't have to necessarily talk about what was bad before, but what do you see as being what's better, or what do you appreciate since making the move? And you've been here now how many months?
It's been since September.
September.
Feels like years.
Right. It does. I don't know if that's good or bad that it feels
I
like.
was almost like, oh, it's been like a year. I'm like, no, it hasn't, crazy lady. No, well, I mean, yeah, I'm from C21 as well. I started with Tina Hare. I worked with her for 2 years. I became an independent TC. Then C21 asked me to be their first company TC, take the lead, make it a team thing. And I didn't really enjoy that anymore because I enjoy helping people more so than pumping out like the most numbers you can pop out. Like, I don't need 70 files. I can take my 25 to 30 and actually help my agents and be happy. So moving, it's just been a different atmosphere, because yes, we still want to do business and have a bunch of deals going, but it's also about taking care of people properly. And that's what I enjoy, and teaching people. And I like teaching people about contracts and going over those things. I know them very well these days, and I'm very passionate about them when I know that I'm reading the contract right. And it's been good. I've had my first deal on my own. Me and Leslie did it, and Jim, it was his client, so I had to call him a million times, and he would walk me through everything, and we would talk forever. And you don't get that same experience, I think, everywhere. And it's just in the short months that's why I think it feels like forever. In the short months that I've been here, it's been such a learning experience and such a breath of fresh air. It's not there's not, I mean, yeah, everyone has bad days, but there's not like the negativity that I felt going to certain offices. And it doesn't feel like everyone's kind of against each other. Everyone works together to create, like help lift them and like support their goals. And it's not like, oh, well, if I make you that better, then I don't have any business. So that's kind of my short.
Well, thank you. But Leslie, if you're good.
Hey, Brendan.
Hey, Leslie, how are you doing?
Good.
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 What I guess with Leslie, just to share with you a little bit, Jody, Leslie, I've worked with her now for about 3 years. We worked together out of the Wood Ranch office, and I've seen tremendous growth over that 3 year span. So she came from basically brand new, fresh, nobody being
Yep.
able to put any bad stuff into her head until I got to put some bad stuff into her head. No, it's been pretty cool to see, and definitely things have started picking up for her. She's actually getting married here soon, so she's got a lot on her plate.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And yeah, just I guess, you can talk a little bit about the experience, but also just, I don't want to say why you made the change, but what has it been since you made the change?
Amazing. It's Brendan, you're the best support system ever when it comes to just, especially as a new agent. As a new agent, you have a lot of struggles, not just with real estate itself, but self-confidence and the ability to take it from point A to point Z, whether it's in your business or within a transaction. Also having that someone to be able to talk to if you're having issues with something, whether it is personal or business wise, because at the end of the day, personal and business kind of intertwine sometimes too, at times. And then, yeah, I mean, escrow is crazy. Every escrow is different. There's not one escrow that's the same. I mean, there's general things like I've always talked to Yvette, hey, there's certain things that I'm like, oh yeah, this is the usual disclosures, all that. But then there's a curveball that comes at you. And then you're like, okay, what do I need to do? So yeah, no, Brendan, you're amazing. Thank you. Thank you for your help.
Thank you, but don't believe what she's saying about that. And the part to pick up on it was, no, we've definitely, we've all grown together. And the nice thing is, a lot of times when, there are things that are going on and I'm not readily available, and I don't want it to sound like I'm never answering my phone, but you probably get some laughs over here from Yvette and a few others. I do try my best to get back, at least within the day if I can. If it's something urgent and I get a text that, hey, I need to handle this right now, then I'm going to do the best I can to get to it within the hour. It is, as Laura Lee likes to say, spinning plates. I did it in a management role with my business, with the family, with everything else. You're just spinning a bunch of plates, and you get good at learning how to manage your time, which is critical to be successful as a real estate agent. And part of one of the biggest issues I used to deal with our agents, and these were some high producing, some not as high producing, and it didn't matter, it was still a challenge, was how do I respond to calls? When do I respond to calls, especially when you have other commitments? You have other full-time work. And if you haven't figured it out yet, counselor should be on the resume for the application for a position with our company, because that's all we do is counsel each other. And I probably need the most counseling, and I'll reach out to Amy or Dusty or somebody else on something that I'm going through, and Yvette, and we're just here for each other. It's life stuff. Business is tough, but I don't feel there's anybody in this group that I don't trust. I trust everybody. And that's one of the things when we talk about, Leslie mentioned self-confidence, there's a self-confidence formula that's in Think and Grow Rich. One of the big things they say is, I will eliminate hatred, envy, jealousy, selfishness, and cynicism, and develop a love for all humanity, because a negative attitude towards others can never bring me success. That is so difficult to accomplish with any group, but especially in real estate, because of the money that's involved, because of the type of business that's involved in it. It's very challenging to do that. But I had a belief that you could do that within a company or within an office, and it all starts with the leadership. And I do feel that we have that. I don't feel people being jealous of other people. I feel people truly are rooting each other on and genuinely happy for somebody else. And Leslie just got another offer accepted. Congratulations, Leslie.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Hey, girl.
It's just, it's a tough market right now. And she's getting offers accepted, which is phenomenal, and it's not, I don't even know. I think she sent me one text, but I didn't even respond in a timely, as we talked about being responsive, this doesn't make me look good in terms of support, but she got it done. She got it figured out. And I'm sure she probably reached out to you, Betty, as well. And that's what we do. We help each other put deals together. And it's not like, oh, am I getting a piece of this, or are we doing this together? It's, we all want each other to succeed. As Dusty and Amy, and if you make this decision at some point, you succeed, we all succeed. And that's what we want to establish here in Ventura County, is a successful group of agents. And it's challenging. And we all go through our challenges. We all go through our highs and our lows. So it's about being supportive of each other, knowing what activities that if you focus on a consistent basis, it's not just prospecting, but it's the fuel of our business. We have to talk to people, and we have to find ways to talk to people. And it's been limited with COVID. There's been some major changes that have happened that have limited, Leslie loved door knocking and open houses.
Yeah.
Well, both of those are out. So it's like, okay,
Right.
how am I going to feed my family, or how am I going to start my future, or be successful in this business? We got to figure out a way. So you got to get good on the phone. And I remember the first time Leslie was on the phone, she wasn't having any fun. She was like, this is not my strength. I like to door knock. I like to see people face to face.
It was miserable. It was like pulling teeth. It was actually, I think I would have preferred pulling teeth than having to.
And I've seen a few other people get green when, it's like, all right, let's make these calls. Let's do it. So there's different things out there. We won't scare you too much right now. There's different calls and different things you can make. But the key is knowing that you have to constantly be engaging in conversation, but also being intelligent with your conversations and bringing value. And as long as you're always constantly bringing value, and people start looking to you as the source, the resource of information, people want to know what's going on in the market. So I think everybody had a chance to speak. So, thank you all for just
Thank you.
contributing on that. And I hope, Jody, that just gives you a little just idea. And that's about as sincere and honest as I can get. I do have to owe them all money or lunch or beer or something after all this. So just for full disclosure. But no, I wasn't surprised by anybody's answers, because we've had these conversations, and you can call any of them offline and they'll tell you the good, bad, and ugly, of our group. And that's, I think, going in with both eyes wide open is really important. So just feel free, if you guys want to put it on a message chat, or we can do a group text or something, I can add you to it, Jody, and then
That'd
you'll
be
have
great.
everybody's number, and then feel free to reach out to any of them. Is that okay with the team here?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Awesome. Cool.
Thanks,
Anytime.
guys.
No
Thank
call
you.
anytime.
Awesome. And if anybody
Everybody's
has,
so nice.
that's what I'm saying. I had to bribe them with ice cream before I sent them a text. I said, hey, only say nice things. Don't scare her. We like Jody. So, but no, it's a good group. Really good.
Good energy finds each other.
Yeah.
And we
Amen
scare
to
away
that.
scare away the bad energy, right?
Yeah, like the
Luckily,
Avenger.
yeah, no, it's just we've had talks. There's actually been other people that have approached us, and people mutually that we know, and we just know the right energy and the not so right energy, and I respect especially every person that's on this call, just the opinions and the feelings and the thoughts, and we want everybody feeling comfortable and confident that this is the right group. So yeah, so I guess before we get into it, it's already 10:25. If anybody does have to leave early, feel free. No offense taken. Jody, I know we were just on the phone for a good hour before this. So if you have to leave, there's no offense. I should have said it at the beginning. We record all of these. It stays private just for our group. We actually have a Facebook private page for our office as well that we share things with in terms of like how to present an offer, certain email templates, just different things that are working. Leslie, I guess before we jump into it, do you mind just sharing a little bit of your writing the offer, what the situation was like, and how everything worked out on that one?
For the last one?
Yeah, for the last one.
So we were competing, I believe it was one or two others.
Yeah.
It was about 10,000 over my client's offer.
Okay.
One thing I did have somewhat of an advantage was I could speak with the seller's agent, who was also the seller.
Okay.
And he was very realistic in understanding what the market's doing, but he also wanted a strong offer.
Mhm.
Contract wise.
Okay.
So I noticed the price range that it was listed. I looked at the other, not listing, sorry, all the sold in the area, and I noticed it wouldn't have an issue appraising. So
Okay.
I told my client, I can make this happen. We just need, there's a couple options we can do. And one of them could be to remove the appraisal contingency. And based on the comps in the area, I feel like it won't have an issue appraising.
Okay.
With her good sized down payment,
Uh-huh.
you know, the seller chose us.
Awesome.
They said,
So, and with the good size down payment, is this down payment assistance?
yes, correct. But
Awesome.
she also did have her own down payment as well.
Oh, she did. She had a decent amount
Like
of her
kind
own.
of she matched it. So it
Perfect.
turned out to be like over 100,000 in down payment.
That's awesome. So, so I don't know if you are familiar or not, Jody. There's some down payment assistance programs here locally, and Dusty and I actually work for the nonprofit called VCCDC, Ventura County Community Development Corporation, who focuses on providing these grants. It's pretty awesome assistance. There's also some challenges, and they kind of have some negative stigmas out there as well. So it's not easy to get those offers accepted. That's why I asked that question.
Mm.
So awesome job,
Oh, yes.
Leslie, on getting
And-
down payment assistance offer accepted.
Brendan, one more thing. I
Uh-huh.
had Alex communicate with the seller
Good.
and the seller's agent to help him understand what it looked like, because he was a little confused at first
Uh-huh.
with how it worked. So, Alex gave him a call, clarified it, and he was like, okay, I feel comfortable now about it.
That's
So-
good. And then so you probably got longer timeline. So 45 days probably for the escrow.
So the seller knows that it's longer.
Uh-huh.
We'll likely have to change the escrow period to another 5 days, because
Okay.
Alex said it could be a 35-day escrow.
Okay.
He can tweak it a little bit to
Uh-huh.
get money 5 days prior to the usual.
Okay. Good.
So
So
it's
usually
fine.
we ask for 45 for the down payment assistance, but that's good to hear that Alex was able to get on the phone and do that. So
Yeah.
that is some of the stuff that we also try to understand and train, is understanding the down payment assistance. There's more buyers, more people that are going to be available for it, and just kind of a quick, I guess, teaser of it. Are you familiar with it, first of all?
I was just gonna say, this is the first time hearing of it, so I'm already getting trained.
Okay. There's down payment assistance for first time home buyers. They kind of have to fit in a box. So to get the most grants, there's low income and then there's moderate income. For low income, it's 80% AMI or below. That's area median income. So there's a chart. So if it's a household size of 1, usually they make about 60,000 a year. If it's a household size of 4, it's about 90,000 a year. This is for the low income, 80, which is insane. 90,000 a year qualifies as low income for Ventura County. So, but they're going to tie everything in. If they got money during COVID, any additional funds that came in, unemployment, anything, that will all add up and can push them over the 90K mark. And then they don't qualify for the low income down payment assistance. Then they have the moderate income. Moderate income can go as high as like 170 a year. There's also assistance out there for people who lost their properties in the Thomas fires and other things like that. So they don't have to be low income. They could be, moderate income and still qualify with that. But getting back to the low income, the traditional stuff, there's a 3-to-1 match. So if a buyer comes in with 5,000, they can get 15,000 in forgivable grants. They can get it up to, I want to say 22 or 23,000. That's forgivable money, meaning after 5 years of that first time buyer living in the property, that money's all forgiven. They don't pay that back. If they sell it after 2 years, then it's like, and I got to do the quick math, at 5, it's 20% each year drops off. So if the total, let's just say, is 20,000, then in the 5 years, that's 4,000 a year. So you would have 4,000 drop off the first year for the second year. So that'd be 8,000 off. And then you'd have to pay the remaining 12 as you sell the property. That's the forgivable grants. Now they also have what's called Cal Home, which is like 3% simple interest. So say they got that first 20, but then they got an additional 30 Cal Home. Then that 3% simple interest is $900 over each year. Okay, so that's 50,000 in total down payment assistance. They only come in with roughly, let's say $7,500 because it's a 3-to-1 match. So 7,500 is all that buyer needs to come in, and they can buy a home typically about up to 500,000 with roughly 50,000 in down payment assistance. Okay. And the last one that I sold in Oxnard was at 470. Their payment's 2,600 a month with the 400 in, I think it's 409 a month HOA. Their total payment's 2,600 a month. They got 50,000 in down payment assistance, and the purchase price was at $470,000. And they came in with 5,000 out of pocket. It's just insane. So they bought a 1,900 square foot home in Southeast Oxnard, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, rough, 1,900 square feet, quartz countertops, completely redone, great property over in, what's the complex again? Yvette, do you remember? Southeast Oxnard. I'm trying to remember. Silverados is what it's called. Silverado tract. It's like it's kind of a gem of a tract hidden in between a couple mobile home parks, but it's just tucked away. And it's a nice little spot. It's all good. So anyways, that's just kind of just a quick, that company BCCDC actually does homebuyer classes at least a couple times a month. You can go to bccdc.org. That's Ventura County Community Development Corporation.org. You can kind of read about it. All free classes, free until you complete and you close the loan. I just saw they charge $250 for that home buyer class. It's in your closing costs, but again, you're getting all this assistance. So a lot of the funds is from the state. Usually it's 2 to 3 layers of financing. So many agents aren't aware of it. And just as Leslie had to have Alex kind of educate the listing agent on it, sometimes in a multiple offer situation, it's hard to get your offer accepted. So just being upfront with you on it. However, it's an amazing product. And as the market continues to shift some and you start seeing a little bit more competition, a little bit more inventory, it's going to be key to have these buyers. I mean, any buyers it's good to have, but we have a good relationship with them. So they asked myself, and Dusty's going to be speaking at some of the future home buyer classes. And, Leslie, probably potentially anybody else who's interested in, I can introduce. And you can sit through the class, and we do about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour on the realty portion. It's supposed to be an 8-hour course. It's 6 hours, but they'll have a home inspector, they'll have an insurance person, they'll have a counselor, they'll have somebody do lending, and then we do the realty portion and other aspects so that a buyer has a good understanding of what to expect before they even start. And it's a requirement for them to get the down payment assistance. If it's two spouses, they both have to get their certificate. So there's a free version, which you sit through that, or the online version, which is funny because it's all online now. But the online version is like $90, and you can do it on your own time whenever it works for your availability. So just a little bit on that, but it's a good refresher. Amy and Leslie, you got all the numbers memorized now? The down payment assistance, right? So that's just a little bit about that. But let's do, just because we got, I want to at least do 15-20 minutes of the listing presentation. I know it's kind of jumping a little bit. Does anybody want to start off with just kind of explaining what they know with the presentation? I guess before I ask everybody else, Jody, have you, so you've gotten a few listings. Did you have a formal presentation when you went to those, or what, do you mind kind of explaining?
No, I only had to do one presentation, and I got it. So yay.
Yeah. You're 100%.
I'm 100%. The other house I sold was my parents, so I didn't have to present to them, because I've been presenting to them my whole life.
Right.
So
sometimes that's the hardest one. So you're 2 for 2. So that's 2.
But it's been, that one was my first listing. It was years ago.
Okay.
Tim was in there with me, did a lot of the talking at the time, but they reached out to me and wanted to work with me. So
Awesome.
I was very excited, but I am looking forward to honing in on a listing presentation. So
Okay.
I sound confident and knowledgeable, and that they can count on me. So I'm definitely open to all suggestions.
That's awesome. So I'm going to go over just a real quick thing here, just to kind of go over an overview of what it should be like. And did you ever hear anything in terms of the listing presentation with your time, that you were at, or at the company that you've been with?
No.
Okay, so there's two phases. So before I put in the two phases, does anybody want to share the two phases of the listing presentation? Not all at once.
I get my notes out.
Come on, you don't need notes. You're supposed to
Yes,
know
I
this.
do. I don't have it memorized.
You're
You know
supposed
that.
to know this. Well,
Discovery.
That means we haven't practiced it. Discovery is part of it. That's part of phase one.
I know, that's
Got it
why
right
I'm
on
like
here.
pulling out my notes because I know I
And
always say.
well, explain a little bit about discovery, because it's all right. Let's start with this. What's the first part of the listing presentation?
Well, isn't that my discovery that I just told you?
Yeah,
Asking
discovery is part of it. It's asking questions, right?
Gaining
So-
their trust. I don't know. I'm going through all the things and I'm not kidding it.
So, and just to be clear, Yvette's she's more on the transactional side. She's still
Yeah.
learning on the real estate side. Here.
I know the contract. I don't know how to get the people. Okay.
Hey, you're good. You're good. But there is a process right with this. And as she mentions discovery, so the listing presentation starts. It's actually your first conversation with whoever the prospect is. But it's there's actually a part called the pre-qualification process, and it's not getting pre-qualified with the lender. It is discovery. So you are doing discovery first. So your listing presentation starts. If I'm calling, Leslie's the seller, okay? I call Leslie up and I hear that she's thinking about, or say she's given my name from somebody, or say she's a neighbor, right? And she's thinking about selling, and she heard I sell real estate. So Leslie, go ahead and call me up.
Ring, ring.
Hello?
Hi, is this Brandon?
Yes, this is Brandon. How can I help you?
Hi, Brandon. Wait, so am I the agent, right?
No, you're gonna be the seller thinking about selling
Oh,
your
that's right.
property, right?
Yes. Hi, Brendan. I got your number from my neighbor who sold their home just a few months ago. I've been thinking about selling myself, and I noticed all the prices, in my neighborhood are looking good right now.
That's awesome. Well, Leslie, thank you for reaching out to me. And I definitely want to find out a little bit more about how I can help you. When would be a good time for us to get together?
I'll be in the area for the next 2 weeks. So whenever
Okay.
it's convenient for you.
Okay, so you're visiting from out of state?
Yes.
Awesome. And then I'd be asking a little bit more in terms of trying to figure out where she's coming from. So what I'm trying to discover is needs, wants, expectations, and her motivation. In the prequal isn't about convincing her that I'm the agent for her. It's about discovery. It's about finding all the answers to the test. The test is going to be when I do the listing presentation. So if you heard right out the gate, one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to try to meet face to face. I want to meet at the property ideally. And even if she's going to ask me questions, typically, what are the two things sellers want to know? Anybody can speak up too. Hopefully you're all.
Price and commission.
Price and commission, right? So they want to know, okay, what price can I get for my home? What commission do you charge? When do we talk about price and commission?
At the very, very end.
At the end, phase two, right? Are we going to talk about it on the phone for the prequel?
Nope.
No,
I found my notes. I'm ready.
Great. Not fair. You're not allowed to find your notes. You're supposed to know this off the top of your head.
No.
So basically, the first thing you're going to do on that prospect call or that new call is you are going to ask questions. But number one, before you start, and you don't ever want to drill them with questions where they feel like it's an interrogation, right? There's a book called Versatile Selling. Versatile Selling talks about how you adapt to the different personality styles. So you actually start understanding who you're speaking to first. And the golden rule is to treat others how others want to be treated. The platinum rule is to treat others how they want to be treated. That's a more important rule than the golden rule when it comes to selling and being versatile. So you have to understand who your audience is. And then more than anything, they don't trust you yet. They have what's called relationship tension. So that's up really high. And you have to be able to lower that tension before they're going to like you and then trust you and then allow you to lead them through the process. Okay. So that's key. So on the phone call, nobody typically feels good about making a call to a real estate agent who's going to get paid a commission to sell their house. If you feel pressured walking onto a car lot, let's multiply that by 10 or 100. right? In terms of the amount of money that is involved in it, the amount of commission that's involved. It is very high pressure and uncomfortable. It's awkward. Let's just be real about it. It's awkward meeting new people, right? So you can imagine how they feel trying to reach out to us. So part of it early on is listening, asking good questions, knowing what to ask, but I'm going to set the appointment first. So I set the appointment, and sometimes you can't set it too quickly. But if they're already saying, hey, I'm reaching out to you, I'm thinking about selling my house, yada, 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 then and it's all opening up to it, I'm going to set the appointment. That's the part of the close, right? So there's 3 C's. You connect, you create value, and you close on any conversation. This is how you're going to set your appointments. Okay. So connecting, that's where they talk about matching and mirroring and repeating and affirming and these different techniques, but you got to listen to them. And you have to, if somebody's speaking really fast and you speak slow, they're going to think that you're not too sharp. Or if somebody speaks slow and you speak super fast, they're going to think you're a high pressure salesperson, right? If you think of somebody from the East Coast and the South speaking to each other, it's 2 different languages. So you have to speak their language and you have to listen to them. And this is all about being good at asking questions, but more than anything, being an amazing listener. As a counselor would want to ask questions and listen, and then knowing how to guide them through the process by asking good questions that lead them to the result that you're looking for. Does that all make sense to everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, so we talked about the very first thing. I'm trying to set the appointment. So let's say I set it for Friday at 4 o'clock, right? This is on a Monday. We have this phone call. The next thing I'm going to do is on Thursday, I'm going to follow up. And what am I going to do on Thursday, Leslie?
You'll do the prequal.
And do the
buyer
pre-qual. So
will
now you're
listen.
the agent and you're setting up the appointment's already set for Friday at 4 o'clock. Okay. You're the agent. I'm the seller and you're doing the pre-qual. Just start it off just real quick. Okay.
Okay. I don't have the notes in front of me, but
No, it's so I want it off the top of the head. How are you going to how are you going to start it out?
so ring.
Hello.
Hi, Brendan. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you. How is this, Leslie?
It is, yes.
How are you doing, Leslie?
Good, good. I just, do you have a quick minute?
I do.
Perfect. I just wanted to ask you a couple questions before I come out on Friday. Do you have some, oh, I'm messing up.
It's okay.
Yes, I just have a couple questions. So Brendan, when I come out on Friday, do you plan on listing your home with me?
Oh, wow. So you're going straight to the script. That's awesome. So
I'm going to the
number one,
drug.
no,
Brendan.
that is the, just so you know, that's the Mike Ferry script, and she's going to the question. So one of the things I would do, and we can practice it again, Leslie, is
Yeah.
the first thing I would do is I would say, does Friday at 4 o'clock still work for you? Work for you and your spouse, right? So I'm going to confirm the appointment first. And if they say, yeah, no, we're looking forward to meeting you tomorrow, we're really excited to hear what you have to say for you to check out our house, right? Then the second thing I'm going to say is, well, to make sure we get the most out of our time tomorrow, I have a few questions for you. Do you have a few minutes for those questions? Absolutely. Great. And then you start going through your questions. Now, she went right out the top with probably the toughest, most difficult question that if I'm being 100, I mean, just completely honest and blunt, I've never asked that question right out the gate. Mike Ferry says, ask that question right out the gate because he wants to know really quickly whether they're already going to commit to, or they plan on listing with the agent that's calling. So the question is, so if you feel confident and comfortable with what I have to share with you on Friday at 4 o'clock, do you plan to list your home with me? Just right out the gate. That's the first question, which is a pretty strong question up front. So for me, if I don't know them well enough yet, I don't know if I'm going to go for the close that quick, but he doesn't care if the answer is yes or no. If the answer is yes, it's awesome. But if the answer is no, what you're going to discover is, are you competing against other agents? Are they, what are their level, what's their confidence level with you selling their home right out the gate? So I'm probably too chicken to do it, but I probably should do it. And I probably could be more efficient with my discovery if I tried that method, because it's a proven method over 40 years. So you got to find what works for you. There is no right or wrong answer. The key is, are you getting, if you're 1 for 1, you got your 1 appointment, right? You must have did it right. You set the appointment, and a lot of people are afraid to do this pre-qual part. And I've heard this from managers when we were learning how to prospect. Then guess why they didn't want to do the pre-qual call? Does anybody have any ideas?
They're
So they
worried
didn't want
for-
to find out that they're competing against other agents.
They didn't want to do what, Leslie? Sorry.
Find out that they're competing against other agents.
That's a good answer. Any other ideas of why people would be afraid to do the pre-qual script or questions prior to the appointment?
Because the seller can change their mind and be like, I don't
Right.
even want to do this.
Yep, that's the main
Yeah.
reason. Any other ideas? It's that. So that's the main reason. So people, if they had an appointment set on that Friday, they're afraid to ask questions before because they think they may lose them, or maybe now they're going to ask me about commission. They didn't ask about commission yet, but maybe now they're going to ask me about commission. And what if I don't know the right answer? Or what if I go too low on the phone? Or what if I don't go low enough? We start psyching ourselves out, but they're afraid of that. And what typically happens is there's a couple tricks to setting appointments. So you have to master setting appointments. You have to master pre-qualifying and truly finding out how motivated somebody is, what their needs, what their wants are, what their objections are going to be. That's what that pre-qual script's for. I want to know what challenges or objections they're going to have. Are they going to have an issue on price? Well, if they have an issue on price and I found out the day before, don't you think I have a little bit more time now to really hone in on the price and create the strongest argument or persuasive presentation that shows them this is the right price? Or I may have to even come to it where it's like, you know what? I'd love to help you, but I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear just to get your listing. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear to get your home sold, right? These are all things to show when you speak with a certain type of conviction that you know what you're talking about. And this is who I want to hire if I'm going to commit to a commission to sell my home and to guide me through this with a certain level of confidence, as we talk about the self-confidence formula. So there's a method and a process to all of this. There's a recipe for this. And if you know it and you can follow it, it is huge. And this is the game changer for your presentation. This is how that agent, Jody, I told you, went from never breaking 100 to doing 270,000. This is also how another agent who did 250 a year consistently for 20 to 30 years, never broke 250. That was always her spot. It is now doing about 600. I just saw she got double Centurion again last year. She went from 250 to 400 to 600,000, and she's still in the 600 range mark. And maybe she may be higher than that now. I mean, I don't even know, but that's the process of what she did because she mastered this presentation. And I heard the presentation before, and not to be mean, but it was not very strong at all. So you got to know how you're going through it. So just in wrapping it up, because I see 10 minutes, I don't want to try to give you as much as possible. And usually I like to get a little bit more engagement. I feel like everybody's like ready to fall asleep right now. Is there anything anybody wants to add or any questions with this, just in terms of confusion, or, you know, is it clear in terms of what I'm trying to share?
I'm just really thankful that we've been tackling the scripts and just working on it, because over the years, like, yeah, obviously I've done business and I've, you know, gone on listing appointments and got the listing. Just studying these scripts, and I think for me it's really going to help take my business to a whole other level, because I think it's a really thin line between you know, yeah, you want to be a good listener and you really want the client to open up, but you also at the same time want to control the conversation. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, Brandon.
Well, yes, control it. It's more leading them. So so what you're bringing up right now is you'll have certain expressive personalities, and we haven't talked about this, 4 social styles, but there's one that's expressive. Expressives just want to talk. You may think I'm an expressive off of this meeting here, right? Doing a lot of talking. Analyticals also do a lot of talking, so they can get confused. But analyticals are going to ask more and process more. But then when they talk, they keep talking. So I'm actually more analytical than on the expressive side. Then you have the amiables, and the amiables are more caring about pleasing people around them. You actually have more nurses, more teachers are amiable personality. They ask more, they listen more, They're supposedly, according to Mike Ferry, they are the best agents. The best real estate agents out there possible are the amiable personalities. They're very empathetic, very caring. Then you have the driver personality, who just, I don't care about the process of the baby. I want to see the baby, right? Don't tell me how to sell the house. Just sell the house. Just sell the house. That's all I want. And then you also see people under stress. So what Dusty's talking about in terms of controlling the conversation, number one, who's in control of the conversation? Does anybody know the answer to that, based on how it's going through? Is it the one who's talking? Is that the person in control of the conversation?
One listening.
It's the one listening. It's the one asking questions is the one who's in control of the conversation. So even when I made a statement, I still turned it to a question. And that question is what controls the conversation. So if they go off topic and start talking about soccer, right, or their kids, playing softball or whatever it is, there's a transitional question or statement that you can make to bring them back on track. And you can say something like, hey, Dusty, as important as that point is, right, let me ask you this. So I take control again. I acknowledge what they just said. I didn't just not listen to them. As important it is that Johnny's playing 8-year-old soccer. I love soccer. I love coaching. That's phenomenal. I'm glad he's doing great, and I'm glad they're back out there playing. But let me ask you this. You mentioned you have to be in San Diego by June. Is that correct?
Correct.
Awesome. So now I transitioned it. I listened to it. I wasn't rude and just blew off what they were saying, but we're not going to go on a 30-minute discussion about Johnny playing soccer, right? When I got 20, 30 minutes possibly to make the impression that I'm the agent, not that I'm just a big soccer advocate or a dad or whatever the case is. There's a connecting part that's important, but more importantly, they are hiring a professional who knows how to get the job done. And so we have to be able to transition that. So is that fair? Does that answer what you're sharing in terms of controlling the conversation, Dusty?
100%. 100%. And it's exactly what I meant, because there's times that when it's the client or the prospect flipping it around and they start shooting off questions that maybe, we always have to be on our toes, right? We have to be ready for everything that comes at us. But if we're the ones controlling it, like you said, with asking those right questions, that's when the phase one really is executed with gaining their trust, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because one, you show your care, and then, you really keep emphasizing on the things that you realize through those questions, what are important to that individual or couple or whoever you're interviewing.
Right. No, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, man. So I know it's wrapping up here shortly. I'm just trying to still paint a little bit of this. And just so you know, we're definitely not, when we test on it and we're asking questions, it's to try to get us to think on the spot, because there's going to be a time that Dusty's going to get a call. He's not expecting it. And that call it could come in this afternoon. And they say, hey, Dusty, you got some time in about an hour to come check my place out? Right. And Dusty's got a couple options. He could say, yes, I can be there in an hour. Or he could say, you know what, it actually doesn't work with my schedule right now. What about tomorrow at such and such time? Now he can do that. That gives him a little bit more time to prepare. What's the risk in doing that, Dusty?
I'll just lose them.
Right. Somebody else comes in today at 1 o'clock,
Right.
and closes them and takes the opportunity. So you want to do everything you can to be able to show up on the spot. And you can even split it into a 2-part listing presentation, but meet them face to face and just let them know, say, hey, I'd be more than happy to go there at 1 o'clock, right, today. Said, but to be clear, there's a decent amount of research I need to do after I see your home in person. And then after I reevaluate everything, then let's set up another follow-up time 2 days later, right? And then you have another opportunity, whether it's a day or 2 days later. If they say, well, we're actually interviewing 2 or 3 agents, then you're probably going to want to shorten that time even more. But from when you first went to when you left, so that you can do it. I know an agent that every listing he does a 2-part presentation. Does the first one where he meets in person, does all the discovery, asks a lot of questions. So he's doing more of the pre-qual in person. You can do that, especially if you only get an hour heads up. And I've done that before. But that discovery is key, and you got to ask questions. And one key question that I like, and I'll share it right now, is What are your expectations in the agent that you look to hire to sell your home? That's a huge question. And if there is a husband, wife, or two people that are selling the property, or multiple people, make sure you ask each of them, what is it that you're looking for? What are your expectations in the agent that you look for to sell your property? They will tell you everything. They will tell you exactly what they're looking for.
Brandon?
Yes. Yes.
Do you ever let new agents or just any agents in your company go with someone doing a listing presentation, kind of like a mentor?
Yeah, we've done that actually. Leslie, I know she set up one of the first ones. The gal, like Leslie, didn't care for me too much. She set it up, and so we did it together. And it was kind of more of what you were sharing on your very first listing presentation. You know, she was more of an observer, but she knows the other seller was watching her like a hawk, trying to read her body
Mhm.
language, and she did a good job of smiling the whole time. You there, Leslie? You even hearing? I'm not even seeing any
Yeah, you're right.
going on over there. But
I remember,
she-
Brendan.
what's that?
I remember. Yeah, she was really observant. What is it? Observant.
Right. She was watching you like a hawk, just trying to see, because she knew
Good.
she got a more polished answer from me, and so she questioned. So that's some of the problem when you have when they can tell that you practice and that you can say the right things at the right time or ask the right questions. That's another thing that I've gotten at a presentation where a guy, it was a German engineer guy, and he's very analytical. And he was just like, look, man, I've been at these big meetings. I'm this high position. And basically he just said, you talk a good game. Like, you sound like you know what you're doing, but how do I know you're going to do what you say you're going to do? Right. And so luckily at that point, I had all my stats prepped. I had my past sales. I had the flex market summary stats. So I showed that both sellers, exactly what the market was doing, how many homes had canceled, expired, what the average days of market were. And then I showed my stats and my closing and my track record and showed it all there. And I said, well, so this is what's happened. This is what I've done. And he could see it right there. And I already knew I was competing against another agent. Well, the other agent dropped off like a book that she had written. And I think it was one of those like published marketing books or whatever for real estate agents. But she dropped off a book, and he asked me, he's like, do you have a book? I said, no, I don't have a book, man. You know, I just focus on selling real estate. I'm not writing books right now, but so anyways, I was able to back it up with the stats, but at the end of it, they have to be able to trust you. And there is a way
Right.
to still overcome that objection. And if it ever comes to it, and I don't recommend putting this out there, but if you're confident enough that you're going to close the deal, I'm not afraid of even saying, and I don't recommend doing this. I had to do this more early on, where I would say, look, if you're not happy with me and the way that I work, and I can't do what I say I'm going to do for you, we'll rip the contract up. I'm not going to hold you to this listing agreement. And I would do it. And every time, 90% of the time, I would sell the house. So I just needed that trust and that opportunity. And they wanted to know that I wasn't going to hold them to the 6-month contract. So that's kind of a weaker way to be able to overcome that objection. There's a stronger way to do it. But when you speak with that type of confidence and they know you know what you're going to do, I don't need to make them feel that they're going to be stuck on a 6-month. A stronger way to do it is to say, your listing agreement is an agreement between you and the agent that you want to represent you. Now, if I don't get you the price that you need to walk away with, if you don't get all the terms you're looking for at the end of the day, and we'll know once the offers come in, once you know what it is that we're seeing, and you're not happy with what you're getting, the only way I get paid a commission and that buyer's agent gets paid a commission is if you get exactly everything it is that you want. So we're not going to sign off on any offer unless you know you're walking away with exactly everything that I'm promising you. So if you can find a way to put that into your own words,
Mhm.
it's huge. Because what they don't understand is, and I just had this recently, the seller thinks when he signs that listing agreement that he owes me $45,000 because it's a 900 plus property at 5% commission plus closing costs, that he's on the hook for $50K the second we sign that listing agreement. They don't understand how it works. So we have to be good at communicating, and we got to discover and find out what's going on in their head. So there's a whole lot more to this. I just wrote real quickly up here. So price and commission, we don't talk till phase 2. Phase 1 is choose me. Choose me isn't all about, oh, I'm the greatest. It's, I do this, I do that. It's not that. choose me is they feel confident that you can sell their home. So that temperature gauge, it's like a transitional question that we'll get to. When I'm at a good part of the presentation, I'm going to ask them, so how do you feel about what I've shared with you so far? That's an easy question. How do you feel about what I've shared with you? Are we on the right track? And if they say, we feel really good, we really like, man, you know, you've shown us so much. We had no idea it was this complicated of a process. And you're feeling pretty good about your confidence level. You've put enough equity in the bank. Now's the time you can get to closing. Now's the time to say, okay, now we can start talking about price and commission and walking them through that. If they don't feel confident with what we've shared so far, I need to ask questions. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being 100% confident, 1 being 10% confident, where are you at, Leslie, with your confidence that I can sell your home?
I'm a lot more confident than I was 3 years ago.
Okay, so I know. So it took me 3 years to get this listing. So we're doing an example for the
Yeah.
listing, right?
You finally got it.
Right. So on a scale 1 to 10, 1 being 10%, 10 being 100%, where are you at?
Oh, I'm at a 9.
A 9. Well, that's awesome. So you're about 90% confident. So thank you, for feeling pretty good about what I've shared with you so far. But I don't want to do anything until you're 100% confident that I'm the right person to sell your property. So what is it? Share with me what I missed, or what's the 10% hesitation, Leslie?
It's pretty much, you just never know. Sometimes within the market, if we can't get the price that we want, then we might not be able to sell it.
Okay, so your concern is the price, and we haven't talked about price yet, right? So if the price makes sense and you get as much as you can from the sale of the home, right, that you feel comfortable with, putting that aside, are you 100% confident that I'm the agent that should represent you?
Yes, of course. You look like you know what you're doing, and I learned a lot actually during our meeting. So.
Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm isolating the objection. And so she's telling me what the objection is. And once I put that over to the side, and I can ask her, is there anything else? Any other hesitations? Is there anything else? Is there any other hesitations? And I'm getting the objections. Objections are the hesitation. Objections are unanswered questions. If they have a question that's unanswered in their head, they're not going to commit to working with you. So I got to be able to find out what that is. And if I isolate it and move it aside, I know there's no other objections. I know there's no other concerns. I know there's no other agents they're thinking about. I know they're not concerned about the company. I know they're not concerned about whatever it is. So you have to isolate that objection. This is how you get to closing. This is how you do it. So now I know it's just price. Okay, let's talk about price. Let me show you 3 canceled of what not to do. Now let me show you 3 recent sales that just closed last week. This is pending right now, and I've spoken to the agent. The agent told me they went, 20,000 over asking price, and they got 12 offers. They're right up the street from you, and your house is better than their house. So guess what? Only 1 person got their offer accepted. There's 11 other interested buyers right now that want to buy in your neighborhood. Do you think it's probably a pretty good idea that we put a sign out there before somebody else does? Right? So we start discovering, and we start asking questions that they self-realize by the questions we ask, that we need to get the house listed ASAP. You're the agent that I know knows what they're doing, and that I feel confident that we can get this started right now. So there's some serious objections out there. The biggest objection is the uncertainty of not knowing what the next property is. So the inventory is all-time low. Interest rates are creeping up, but that's the biggest objection to come over is, well, I don't know where I'm going to move to next. I want to sell my house. I want to max out. So, it's finding people who are willing to rent temporarily. It's finding people that you can overcome with a home of choice contingency, or also the second one's the rent back. So there's, some ways, and we can talk about that a little bit more in a future one, but I've already gone over. It's 11:06. So just appreciate all of your time on here. I hope this was helpful. There's more to it. And that's why, it just shows phase 1, taps your intro, thank, acknowledge, and promise. Okay. Then you get into discovery. So you give them a blueprint. So we say tap map. Tap is your intro. Then after your intro, then you go to your blueprint. Your blueprint is going to give an overview of what we're going to cover today. We're going to talk about needs, wants, expectations. Then after that, we're going to talk about our marketing plan of action, what we do to get homes sold. Then we're going to talk about the market, where it's been, where it's at, where it's heading. Then after that, if you, we're going to talk about pricing, and we're going to come up with the price together. If you feel confident I can sell your home, then we're going to take care of some paperwork. Okay, that's the quick overview. Then we're going to ask questions, do our discovery. Then once we're at a good spot and we got a good understanding of what they're trying to accomplish, now we're going to start getting into that temperature gauge to make sure that we're ready. They've chosen us already. They already feel confident. We know what we're doing, and we're moving them over to phase 2, which is the pricing and commission. And then, you know, commission is just in the paperwork. We're not saying, okay, what do you want to charge commission? You know, what are you hoping for, right? We're going to go straight to the paperwork. It's a natural part of the process. And then sometimes I call it a commission story, that you have to be good at expressing why it's important to offer adequate commission. Otherwise, you're not going to get the right type of exposure. And our job as a listing agent, what are the 4 things? Last thing, we're going to finish on this. Anybody remember the 4 pillars?
Yep.
You're looking at your notes. I can hear somebody flipping their pages.
What?
I'm
Shush.
Leslie,
I have
what's
them. I'm
the
ready.
4? All right, everybody say
They're ready.
one. Amy, you say the first one.
Okay, is it consult and advise?
Yeah, I saw you looking down at your note. Consult and advise. What's the next one? Leslie,
Market and expose.
marketing exposed. Dusty, third one.
Oh gosh.
You're the only one who didn't look at your notes. That's why I'm calling
I
it.
don't know.
Any of them. What do you do as a listing agent?
Handling the transaction from beginning to end.
That's oversee the transaction. That's the 4th one. What's the 3rd one, Yvette?
Negotiate the best terms.
Yeah, I
That
know
was the 3rd
you
one.
did it. I knew you looked at your notes. I don't. You guys,
What?
Dusty gets the
What
only
are you
gold star over
talking
here.
What was it? Negotiate the best terms?
Negotiate the best terms. So one is
At least I
consult and
take
advise.
notes, okay?
No, it's good to take notes. It's good, but we got to memorize this. So everything you do in terms of listing a property revolves around these 4 pillars. It's to consult and advise, as Amy said, to market and expose the property. You want to expose it to the most, you want to cast the biggest net, fishing net out there. Catch as many buyers as you can. That's our job, is to expose the property, get the reach out there as much as possible, right? Number 3 is to negotiate the best terms, not just price up front. Appraisal, request for repairs. You are hiring an expert negotiator in your corner, right? Who do you want in your corner from beginning to end? As Dusty said, oversee the transaction. So from beginning to end, did you realize that more than 150 phone calls take place? Did you also realize on a national average that you have to sell every home twice? Okay. So that's huge. So with every one of those 4 pillars, you have 2 supporting benefits to each of them. And you got to be clear and concise and just say it and be able to say, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, do you know what it is that a real estate agent does to sell a home? What are the 3 Ps? Anybody remember the 3 Ps? It's a little bit of an icebreaker when you ask a serious question to them. Leslie, I know you know.
So,
What do all agents do to sell homes? Because there's no difference between them. What's that?
just put the sign up, right?
Put a sign up, right? What else do they do?
Pray it sells, right?
Do what?
Pray that it sells.
Oh, pray. That's the joke at the end. Okay. And what's the
At the end.
second P? Yeah. What's the second
I
C?
forgot the second one.
So did you say put a sign up?
Put a sign up.
Put it on the MLS, put it on the internet, right?
Yeah.
And then pray that it sells.
Yeah.
Okay. We got to work on the delivery for the jokes too, Leslie.
It's a little dry.
You didn't
So
sign
that's-
up to be a
that's-
stand-up
that's the
comedian,
iceberg.
okay?
I know. She's getting
Not
offers
afraid.
accepted. She's getting offers accepted. That's all that matters. So, but you know,
It's the pretty face that's getting the offer.
Thanks.
so the 3 Ps, right? You know, we do that, and then we ask them that. We ask the seller, and then we tell them, oh, you know, most agents think it's the 3 Ps. Put a sign out front, you put it on the MLS, and then you just pray that it sells, right? There's no active thing. There's no difference between any agent that's here on this call. It's just, you know, so then I'm going to go with the person who's telling me I'm going to get the most for the sale of my home, and the person who's going to charge me the least amount of money. That's the no-brainer, right? Because there's no difference in the agent. So why should I pay $40,000 to sell my home when I can do it myself or pay $500, right? And get it put on the MLS. So that's where we have to be able to create the value. So then when we say, well, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, may I share with you what it is that I do to sell homes? And then, they say, yes, please do. Say, well, my job is to consult and advise you. It's to take the guesswork out of real estate, right? Number two, my job is to market and expose your property. It's to market it. I'm screwing it up right now. We take professional photos by a photographer that will put it in the best light 24/7. High definition photos. We don't take any shortcuts. And we know internet exposure is the most important thing. So we're going to get it on. It syndicates to over 200 websites, and you will get more reach and exposure with us in our methods and the way that we sell properties. Okay. Number three, my job is to negotiate the best terms. It is my duty, it's my stewardship to protect your hard-earned equity in that property and to make sure that you walk away with the most amount of money at the end of the sale. Number four, my job is to oversee the transaction. That's the two stats. Did you know that on average, it takes 2 times to sell a home and roughly 150 phone calls from beginning to end? Now, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. So after we say those 4 pillars, we ask them the question, is there anything that I shared with you that you like, or any benefit that you see in what I've shared with you right now? And then, so Dusty, I'm calling on you just because I know we're past our time right now. Out of the 4 pillars, any of those that you like as a seller?
All of it sounds amazing.
Okay. Anybody gonna be a little more difficult? Yvette, any of those 4 pillars that you like?
I like the professional photos because sometimes I see houses that are dark and you can see the agents in the photo, and I don't enjoy that.
That's awesome. So Yvette, share with me a little bit about what you're hoping for in terms of marketing for the sale of your home.
Well, I want it everywhere, and I want everyone to see my home because I have taken great care of it. And I want you out there telling other people about my home and dropping flyers. And I want you calling all of your friends.
That's awesome. So what it sounds like is you're looking for an active agent like myself, not somebody who's passive, who's just going to sit and wait for something to happen. You want somebody who's going to take action and actually create flyers and go door knock and drop. You want somebody who is going to call all the top agents in the area and make sure that we inform them of the property. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, if I, I would go from there to the closing. So, but the whole reason why I asked her which benefit it was that she liked is I want her to start selling herself on us. And so you don't just make statements, you have to give them the benefits and then ask them a question. And in that question, they start committing to you. And then you ask them specifically, what are you looking for in marketing? The other question is going to be about open houses. Okay. So I know we went a little bit longer, but I wanted to get into some stuff because I know we haven't done it as a group. Go ahead, Yvette.
Before anyone goes.
I got to get going, guys. Jody,
Wait, don't leave just yet. I have a
you.
question. It's about a listing. I have one agent I work with who asked me to ask if anyone has an upcoming, it could be a 3-bedroom or 4-bedroom. Really, they're looking for bigger square footage in Camarillo.
Okay.
Veronica Salazar
Okay.
needs to get they just sold their house and her buyers are getting rejected left and right. So she's trying to find a house for her buyers.
What price point?
I think they are in the 7s.
Okay.
And possibly maxing out around 8. I can double check with her, but she wants something with like a bigger lot for like maybe 1,400 square feet at least for the house. I just know that she literally, the last one she wrote on, someone wrote 80,000 over and she lost it. So she's desperate.
Okay. No,
Got it.
All right, Dusty. See you later, bud.
All righty, guys. Nice meeting you,
Toodles.
Jody.
Nice meeting you
Everyone have a
too.
good week. Bye.
You too. Bye.
All right. We'll see you all later. Jody, thank you for your time on there. Leslie, Amy, Yvette, I appreciate you staying. We usually try to end it right at 11 o'clock. So, just appreciate you staying on. Just wanted to, we get it going at a certain point. I wanted to make sure we shared
Yeah.
it.
Thanks for having me on. It was really informative.
Yeah.
It was so nice to meet you, Jody.
It's so nice to meet you all.
All right. We'll see you later. And I'm going to shoot you a text, Jody, with everybody's info. So
Perfect.
yeah. And then I'll reach out to my dad and see if I can connect the two of you, and, you guys can talk about whatever you'd like. And then we'll go from there, Jody.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem. You
Hi,
have a blessed
Jody.
day.
Nice to meet
We'll talk
you.
later.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.